The one of one is missing.
I knew something was up.
Pop, that's almost twice as much going for the same price.
I just freaking love that Rated Rookie logo.
Doing more buying.
Which one of these 5 quarterbacks has the worst set of pass catchers to throw the football to?
Guess how much I sniped this for an auction?
Number to 5, you dirty animal.
I'm telling you, these optic on-card autos are money.
Let's go. All a part of the NoOffSeason.com network. His name is Andy. My name is Carter. Andy's still in full moving mode. We're chatting everything football cards, fantasy football. And today, Andy, we'll discuss a few potential backup quarterbacks. Are you seriously? I mean, you put Trey freaking Lance on the thumbnail today.
I did, man. This, I think it's so fascinating to discuss where fantasy football and the hobby differentiate and where they come together and where they meet. And is there any differentiating these days, or is it just totally, kind of merged together? So what I found fascinating was this tweet by Josh Larkey with the Player Profiler Network. He's been with 33rd Team, so he's like highly regarded fantasy analyst, and he made this tweet comparing Justin Fields and Trey Lance, and he basically said Justin Fields is Trey Lance, and he says if anything, Trey Lance has more unknown upside. If anything, Dak Prescott has missed more time in his career due to injury than Russell Wilson. If anything, the Cowboys' offensive ecosystem is better than the Steelers. And I was like, looking up Trey Lance and Justin Fields rookie ticket auto prices, and surprisingly, a lot of people are still buying. I guess not so much of a surprise. It's kind of what I expected. People are paying twice as much for Justin Fields rookie cards on average. As you can see here, rookie ticket auto sealed by Panini, 130 in auction, 33 bids, very desirable, demanded, versus 67 for Trey Lance. And Justin Fields is back there returning kicks. There's still a lot more hype for Justin Fields and expectations this year with the Steelers. But is he that much different from Trey Lance? Is there unknown upside with Trey Lance, Carter?
Yeah, look, this was one of Larky's big points. So I saw this tweet as well. Is Trey Lance's situation better than Justin Fields' situation? And the answer to that is probably yes. The Cowboys just have a better roster overall than the Steelers. Now, the weapons surrounding Trey Lance is just not going to be as good potentially as Justin Fields, but I would consider both of them closer to the bottom of the NFL. So, look, Andy, Trey Lance is just so freaking unexperienced. He is still, to me, the most unexperienced quarterback to have made the amount of money that he's made. He's only really started one full year of football. That's it. Normally, collegiate quarterbacks start at least 2 or 3 years. I mean, Brock Purdy started 4 years of college football before coming in. And then obviously Jaden Daniels, going back to high school, has been a full-time starting quarterback for 9 consecutive years before he takes his first snap. So there is a lot of this untapped, have we even seen Trey Lance hit a ceiling yet type of play? And Justin Fields is the opposite. We've seen a good bit of him, and it's been mostly not good.
Yeah, and you have to ask yourself, which one has a higher chance of starting? I think it's pretty obvious at this point. The Steelers are giving the starting job to Russell Wilson. And Justin Fields is maybe going to play some kind of gadget role, but it's like, who's more likely of getting injured than Russell Wilson or Dak Prescott? And obviously you can't really, what are you going to, I mean, it's so hard to put a percentage of on which player is going to get injured, but just from like a fragility standpoint, I have to say Dak is more fragile than Russell Wilson, just based on injury history. And then you ask yourself the opportunity cost. Well, I'm spending $150 on a Justin Fields rookie ticket auto. There's still downside when Trey Lance's are only 50 to 60. I mean, Zach Wilson's are only 30 to 40. These are other, early first round draft picks from 2021 that have, if the starter in front of them gets injured, there's a situation where they could start and then potentially create some hype and some buzz, and people go buy their cards. That's literally like what we're banking on. And I do agree with Larky in the sense that Trey Lance could generate more FOMO, right? In terms of the hobby, he could generate more FOMO because we've seen less of him in the pros. We've seen now full season from Justin Fields. So it's like he's going to have to string together some wins with the Steelers, maybe win a game in a big situation with the Steelers as a starter to generate the same amount of hype as if Trey Lance is like, just name the starter for the Cowboys. If that were to happen, the prices go up because of how low they are. And then you flip. It's not like, there's any type of long-term. I wouldn't say recommend long-term hold for either one of these guys right now.
Yeah, they're both just not good players, but people love backup quarterbacks. I mean, they just do. And Trey Lance, the excitement of him with the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know how many Cowboys fans would be gung-ho of buying him in a 49ers uniform, but still, it's just one of those things. Backup quarterbacks are, fun place. I'll give you my honest advice. I'm not that interested in either at this point. I think there are some other interesting backup quarterbacks that really fascinate me. But we go to our comment section. We appreciate all the love and all the adjusting because Andy has been moving. Shout out to Ozark Mountain Collectibles. The first time they've been able to join a live stream. Good to see you, Ozark Mountain Collectibles. We say hi to Pick Six Family Burliners, who's been rocking with us for a while. Wheezy Baby, Emo Cards, Chronics, Brandon, Joey. Good to see each and every one of you. Andy, my next question for you is one that is going to be a little bit different. We normally, continue to talk about just what's happening in the news right now, but we got big card shows coming up. And I kind of want towards the beginning to talk a little bit more about card shows. I am setting up at a show this Saturday in Shreveport, Louisiana, and not one but two of our viewers made the long drive to Shreveport, and y'all didn't tell me. So if you are coming to the show this weekend in Shreveport, Louisiana, please let me know. But Andy, you're getting ready to go to the National here in about a month. Has your opinion about going to live card shows changed at all?
Since last year, yeah, because it's very overwhelming if you've never been to a card show, or let alone like a local one. But then you talk about the National, which is just like a local one on insane amount of steroids. It could be very overwhelming. And I would say the biggest takeaway that I had is don't try and go to every table. You're just going to fry your brain in a few hours and you're not going to be able to take in. I would talk to not some dealers, but network with some other hobbyists that you see are into the football cards, like modern football cards, if that's what you're into, and find out where they're selling those at, and then go to those tables and dig into those tables and try and make bundled deals, try and make package deals with dealers. And obviously, bring the amount of cash that you want to spend with you. So you already have in your head how much you want to spend so you can try and make those package deals. But yeah, I would try and network a little bit and try and go straight to where they're selling the product that you're looking for, because otherwise you're going to fry out within a matter of couple hours. And you're going to have missed a whole section of the entire show, especially at the National, that you would have wanted to check out the first day, like in terms of finding deals.
Yeah. So, Andy, if you can share my screen really quickly. I did a share screen thing. So this will be the show that I'll be set up at. It's free. That's one thing I really like about the show. So you get a little extra equity going into the show, not having to pay to get in. So it's more cash for you to wheel and deal. We'll have, one LSU baseball legend. There might be a few other guys coming to sign, some charity stuff to go along with it. Andy, I was legit shocked. This Saturday, June 29th, 3715 Uri Drive in the Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana area. It's 2 hours from Dallas. And I was legit shocked that there was people that watched us that drove. Now, one of the viewers, I wouldn't say shocked. We've been doing this for a few years now, but one of the viewers, I forgot his name. The other was Joel Garza. We've not seen him here in a while. He walked up and bought my favorite card of my collection. He gave me too much money. I couldn't say no, and I wanted it to go to somebody else. It was my Peyton Manning, John Elway dual game-worn uniform auto. So, yeah, come. And if you're going to the National, I'm still deciding on if I'm going to be able to go because I got to go to Vegas like very soon after that. But still, we want to see your photos. We want to see you at card shows. And if you can, in the comment section below, give us tips. Give the viewers tips because I've been a vendor. I'll be a vendor at the show this weekend. So there you go. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll go to a comment you highlighted here from Ozzy Alvarez. I've been watching you guys for the past 6 months. Great show. Carter, what backup QBs do you like better than Fields and Lance? Thanks. Actually, Andy, I'll let you go first. I have a few in mind. One is Sam Howell, but I do think his prices might be a little too spicy at this point for me to take on that risk. Sam Howell is younger than Jaden Daniels, younger than Michael Penix, and he's been in the league for this long. He does take a lot of sacks, which I don't like. But this situation, the Seattle offense is going to be very good. And if for some reason Gino were to go out, I think Sam Howell would go in there and play pretty well in that environment. So that's one. Andy, do you have any if that sticks out to you?
Well, I don't know if he's going to be a backup anymore. I want to ask you, Carter, is there any news that you've heard of out of camp, beat writers, about the J.J. McCarthy-Sam Darnold battle in Minnesota?
Interesting.
Because I'm seeing some new hype for J.J. McCarthy. Looks like his prices are kind of heading back up. He's pulling in some more hobbyists here. I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you a couple latest transactions for 2024 Pro Uniform product. We still have not received these Panini Instant cards, but I do expect that folks should start receiving these soon from Panini. And you can see the latest $30. I mean, this is a pre-sale card as low as $5 in bulk from Panini's website. And you can see JJ McCarthy buy it now spike here in the last 2 days on eBay on these. And then also another guy I want to ask you about is Jordan Travis right here, the backup for the Jets. And of course, I mean, we're talking rookies. So I like investing in young guys. I mean, think about the almost forgot his name, Tyson Bagent last year for the Bears,
yeah, for the Bears,
or Tommy Cutlets, for the Giants. I think there was even like Jaron Hall for the Vikings who got hype for one game when he was potentially started. I remember Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He was a preseason wonder last year who spiked like crazy in the preseason. So I'm looking at some of these rookies and kind of planning which of these backup rookies could potentially get time in preseason, could shine, could even start if an injury were to occur to their starter during the season.
Yeah, I like JJ McCarthy in that environment. I understand that he gives a lot of people Zach Wilson vibes. I think he's a little bit better than that. I think he's more athletic than that. I think his arm has a little bit more juice. I am concerned about him throwing to his left. That was one statistical thing that was very weird in his profile. It was far more efficient throwing to his right, to his left. You normally don't see splits like that. I like that you brought up Jordan Travis, right? This is a guy who's played college football for forever, had a gruesome injury. Athletically, he's not great as a runner. He's very good. He's not great as a thrower. He's very good. But in the right ecosystem, Jordan Travis very well could be that guy. So that could be a decent buy low opportunity. And you also see Michael Pratt on here, Andy, the Tulane backup QB. Very interesting stuff.
$60 for the Panini Instant Rookie Premier RPS out of 49. you got to take into account this card was pre-selling on the Panini's website direct during that little time period of the NFLPA Rookie Premier event for about $25. So you can see it definitely has upside. And just because he is a rookie, the supply is super limited. Even if there's no like the percentage chance that he gets starting playing time this year is probably like some 2% or something. It's like, you know, it's like it's like in poker, Carter, when you have like you need on the turn and the river, you need like 2 more cards to get a straight or a royal flush or something. Like that's his chances of starting this year. Very low, very, very slim. And but yet people are still gonna pay $60 for a quarterback's rookie auto when they are a rookie and the supply is very limited.
Interesting. Andy, let's talk about another ambiguous QB battle. The Aiden O'Connell, who I think most hobbyists would prefer win this job, versus Gardner Minshew, who is on the older side, but is a part of one of our favorite rookie draft classes. I hope Aiden O'Connell wins this job, Andy, but I for some reason I'm thinking Minshew's going to start the season as a guy.
So you've now transitioned to Minshew starting the season, because I could have swore you were an Aiden O'Connell starting the season guy.
I honestly don't know. I don't remember a QB battle more ambiguous than this one, more different, because they're both semi-similar quarterbacks. Both very limited, and everyone knows both just aren't it. But I look at that supporting cast. It's pretty good when it comes to skill guys. I know O-line's not the absolute best, but I saw Brett Coleman tweet out that he thinks that the Raiders O-line is underrated. So I'm very interested in this QB battle.
Yeah, I am too, honestly. I mean, you look at Minshew, limited product out of 2019, very cheap cards, Silver Prism rookie autos sealed by Panini, still under $100 for a guy that has a limited supply to begin with. And before the big, print run spike from ultra modern Panini, and it makes a lot of sense. You want to buy into them, but at the same time, it's like this guy's started a couple years. He's played full seasons. He's got to do more to generate the same amount of demand and hype within the hobby for his cards that Aiden O'Connell would have to do. I think Aiden O'Connell could make some serious waves early on if he were to start, and it's just a second year. He does have a really nice looking deep ball. I mean, the weapons there for Las Vegas are insane. And now you add Brock Bowers. Trey Tucker is a second-year wide receiver I like as a sleeper that's making waves. I don't expect him to be any type of consistent producer, especially when you're competing for targets against Devontae freaking Adams and Jacoby Myers, who's really good. Now you add Brock Bowers, but he's a guy that could burn defenses. And obviously he looks great when they're not tackling each other. So it's like, this, because he's a smaller player. He's like 5'9", 185, but just incredible, like deep threat weapon. And Carter, I'm comparing the prices. This is what's fun, man. Compare the prices of AOC, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis. I mean, these guys are all starting this year. And interestingly enough, Aiden O'Connell probably has the best statistics. I would say probably, definitely has the best statistics and passing statistics and efficiency metrics out of all 4 of these guys from last year. Of course, CJ Stroud's in a different stratosphere. But just looking at these 4 guys and comparing them, Anthony Richardson gets the bulk of the hype. And so let's take him out because he's got a $440 Silver Prism PSA 10. And let's look at these 3 bottom guys that are all starting this year, Carter. They're all starting as quarterbacks in the NFL. And they have Silver Prisms, Will Levis, 223, Bryce Young, 189. And then we gotta go find Aiden O'Connell.
If he had anything graded. No, I'm just kidding. He does.
Yeah, 115. So he's the cheapest one. He's the cheapest one. And to me, his weapons are way better than Carolina's weapons. Like, I like Deontay Johnson, but
Yeah.
outside of Deontay Johnson, it's a bunch of unproven guys or busts from recent draft classes. And Carolina doesn't have the best track record on drafting pass catching talent right now. So, I mean, and Bryce Young was a total bust last year. I get it. He's capable of much more. And Dave Canales, who's credited for resurrecting Geno Smith's career and doing so much for Tampa last year, now goes into Carolina as their head coach, and he could turn the whole thing around. But just from a hobby standpoint, Aiden O'Connell, I think, is the play here, brother.
Yeah, I just think that they want to see what they have too. I mean,
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew is not the future, and you have weapons out there to really see if Aiden O'Connell is the guy. I will say the one thing I like about all the quarterbacks that we've mentioned, I do think Carolina and in particular Tennessee did something really smart. Go get these guys some weapons and see if they can actually play. Carolina went out there and got them a big time receiver. Tennessee went out there, got them a big time receiver. Now, are they elite top 10 receivers? Probably not, but we know that they're good. We know they have decent open scores in Calvin Ridley and Deontay Johnson, and you'll know pretty quickly if these guys can play or not. So it's very interesting.
So there's your play at the National, because 2023 product is hot. It's readily available. The new sets are coming out, and Aiden O'Connell is the cheapest quarterback that has ambiguity because he's not confirmed starter yet. And you could just get, I guarantee you he's the play. I don't guarantee you he's the play, but I guarantee you can get good deals on him at the National. And he's likely the play in terms of buying in at the lowest and then being able to flip at the highest if he is confirmed a starter.
Rain Strike says Aiden O'Connell is going to be this starter according to the few articles he's seen. Man, I've read and seen everything, but we'll see. Family Burnliner says he still loves Minshew. He's got a lot of stuff he's holding, and then he has a mustache dedicated to Gardner Minshew. I love it. Bob says he is on the Michael Penix train. We have a few Penix collectors that watch this channel, and Michael Penix of the rookie backup quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins' ambiguous injury situation, he might have a better shot of playing. Outside of Drake May, who will probably start the year on the bench. Michael Penix has a shot to get some snaps here.
Yeah, I think he does as well, Carter. I mean, his cards are pretty cheap. I'm looking; it's just a lot of like the premier instance, but they're even selling for half of what JJ McCarthy's are selling for. So obviously, a lot less confidence that Penix is going to see any starting time this year. But that doesn't matter. Like, he could get playing time in the preseason, which he likely will, right? And play a few series. And because he's a rookie with such limited supply, you could still make money on these Panini instants at $10. Maybe not a whole lot. Maybe you flip them for $20, $30. But if you're looking to get your feet wet and you're looking for something with low downside, and you have a smaller bankroll and you're not looking to risk a lot, that's not a bad play. He's an early first-round draft pick this year, and the pro uniform rookie cards with Panini's slow release of everything, these are probably going to come out like mid to end July and going to be great flips in August.
I'm with you on that. I mean, Penix is probably going to play well in the preseason. I mean, he's old. I mean, he's played a lot of snaps. He's going to be a finished product. All it takes is just a few good throws. I mean, hell, we started the show talking about Trey Lance. He had a few good plays and people still believe in him, which more likely he's not that good. We're still buying and talking a lot about Justin Fields. So Michael Penix is going to be in the modern discourse for the next 4 to 5 years, especially if he doesn't play. So it is very, very interesting. Let's go to a few other skill position questions. We had a few Tennessee Titans starting off here with the Tyjae Spears helmets and hash marks. I think Tyjae Spears is big time. I have screamed Tyjae Spears' name. He's been my play of the week, I think, twice on here. I think Tony Pollard joining the team was actually one of the better things that happened to him, because I don't think Tony still has juice. Now, Andy, you do. This has been a huge, debate between you and I think Ty is really, really freaking good. But I'm very interested to see how this backfield shakes out.
Yeah, I do think Pollard still has juice. He's one of those guys, very humble. He's got a good work ethic. And it wasn't like he tore his ACL. It was a broken fibula that he recovered from last year. So I've got confidence that he looks a lot better this year in a new offense with the Titans, who also are going to have a new offense that they're unveiling with their new coaching staff. I like Spears. I like Tyjae Spears. I think he's interesting. I think it's a great time to also buy him at the National because of the ambiguity and the decreased perception of his role with the addition of Tony Pollard. You can get much better prices. Like I'm looking at a really sick card for Titans collectors, investors. If you're wanting to flip like this right here, this card should have sold for like 60 to 70 bucks at least, because these blue. Well, this person labeled it glitter, but it's actually a blue sparkle. It's a super short print card. It's probably less than 50 of these, and it's going to be hard to find it on eBay. And this card looks really nice. I think the photo right here is subpar, and somebody took less than 35. So they probably took like 30 bucks for this. I think that was a steal, whoever bought this card right here.
Yeah, I am in on Tyjae. I think that's a good price for it as well, and I think he'll end up being a really solid RB2 with some RB1 potential. I've drafted a good bit of him in underdog drafts. Just to let you know, I put my money where my mouth is. Right. I love Tyjae. I really, really, really do going in to next year. Look, $15 auto in color match rated rookie. I love this.
Yeah, man. Great card just with that rated rookie logo with the color match. You got the serial numbering on the front. You've got the autograph, even if it's on a sticker. I think it's great because his entire auto is on the sticker. And yeah, his auto is not terrible. We've seen a lot worse. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's looks like a star, but hey, I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it. And the other thing, what round, like what pick or ADP on average are you getting Tyjae Spears at in underdog drafts?
Around pick 120. And the funny thing is pre-draft, he was around pick like 70, and he's fallen. And I drafted him a lot at pick 70, and now I'm taking him a decent amount at pick 120. And I've done close to 100 drafts. I know I'm a lunatic, but yeah, I'm still gobbling him up. Will Levis, I could see him checking down a good bit this year, even though he does like to throw the football deep. And I think Tyjae's going to eat. I really do think so.
50, yeah, he had 52 receptions last year on 385 receiving yards. That's awesome. He also put up a solid rushing sample of 100 attempts with 4.5 yards per carry. So it showed that efficiency that he displayed at Tulane. I know it's a smaller school, Carter, but it was 6.9 yards per carry in college. Very dominant. I mean, a guy is 90th percentile burst. And I think that's kind of what you want to look for in these type of athletes. I mean, 5'10", 201. He's not a tiny satellite back guy either. So I think he's a fun play to make in what's going to be a way more dynamic offense this year in the Titans that I think can surprise some people. And of course, you've got you still got DeAndre Hopkins, who's getting insane amount of respect from defenders, like highest average cushion rate past 2 years in the league, up there with like Devontae Adams and stuff. And because guys are just getting afraid to getting juked out and beat by him and stuff. And then even though he's 30, and then Calvin Ridley, I mean, who still showed like he can still compete and win in a lot of situations on the outside and got paid a lot of money. So it's like, yeah, I mean, Will Levis has got a strong arm. I think this offense has got a lot of untapped potential, which means like they could exceed the current expectations, because the current expectations are pretty low, man.
Let's go to Peyton Speltz. What are my thoughts, or what are your thoughts on Sam Darnold? Peyton says, I don't think there's really any downside, and Minnesota just has way too many weapons to not show any signs of success. I disagree. There is a lot of downside with Sam Darnold, because if it doesn't work out here, he's cooked. I mean, he's done. No, I would guess rookie autos for Darnold probably in the 100, 150 range. It's just not something I'm interested in. Okay, so look, we got one buy now, silver rookie auto for 100. So yeah, look, right on the money. So yeah, not something I am loving here, because I think they'll go to JJ McCarthy pretty quickly. But here's the thing, Peyton. If Sam Darnold does play well, we've seen a spike with this Carolina stuff a few years ago. You could see a spike with his stuff here.
Well, you could. It's not at rock bottom, like you mentioned. I mean, we just looked at like Trey Lance, and Trey Lance has a lot more supply. His are closer to rock bottom for like rookie ticket autos for a quarterback. But then also look at Mike White. I think Mike White is a great 2018 comparison player quarterback to look at when we're talking about backups that have flashed before. And look at his rookie ticket autos. I mean, now down in that $25 to $35 range. So that's the bottom. That is the bottom. And Darnold's at 100. So, Darnold does have some truthers and some hobbyists in his corner that are buying him. They're trading him back and forth, and even hoping. There's a lot of people out there hoping and optimistic that he's going to start for the Vikings this year, and JJ McCarthy is going to sit and learn a little bit. And that's it. But you're right. If he doesn't play well out of the gate, and I had it pulled up, but that Minnesota opening 3 weeks, Carter, is brutal. Is really challenging. I think there's a situation where Sam Darnold starts, and if he doesn't play well, man, it's not going to be long before they put in JJ McCarthy to see what they've got in the rookie that they moved up to get. You know what I'm saying? And traded a ton to get him. So it's like one of those situations where Darnold's on a short leash, and there is downside at the current prices. So I get it, because for a quarterback that could be starting with the best wide receiver duo, one of the best duos in the league, it's tantalizing. It's not too crazy expensive. It's not like, near the top, but there is definitely downside.
Wheezy Baby says the McCorkle Jones, he said, with the negative talk on Trevor Lawrence, would you consider investing back in Mac Jones? Well, T-Law signed a huge contract. I've grown on him this offseason. I've taken him a little bit more in underdog drafts because of where his price is. Very easy stack player with that Tennessee Week 17 game. But McCorkle, I mean, some of his rare auto stuff still goes for quite a bit. So I wouldn't get into that, but you get a McCorkle autograph rookie around $15, $20, $25. That's where I'm willing to be with backup quarterbacks on average. Get into that $100, $200 range, it can get weird.
Yeah, there can be a lot of downside. I mean, look at the difference between Justin Fields and Trey Lance. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about those guys in the beginning, because I know a lot of people are speculating on backup quarterbacks when you can get a quarterback rookie ticket auto, which is typically hundreds of dollars. And, you can get one for $50. And it's like, oh, man, if this guy does start, if he does get a chance, then I'm making a lot of money. It's just sometimes you got a lot of things that need to unfold right, and you got to go runner. You need a lot of things to come out your way to make that happen. And then if they are over 100, it's like, yeah, that's not close to the bottom for that card, and you could be losing money because this guy is not a dynasty asset whatsoever. This is a guy people are dropping from their rosters to make space for people that have a higher chance of starting or contributing. So in a sense, I'd rather buy a rookie ticket auto, Brandon Ayuk, for prime example. We talked about last week, Carter, for $50. There we go. Give me one for $50. This guy is a highlight machine, potential trade candidate. If not, he's on a Super Bowl contending team and he's in the prime of his career, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm in the wheelhouse. I mean, go look at the rookie ticket autos of your guy Jamar Chase. Any of the elite top 10 receivers, producers on a year-to-year basis, they go for good money. I mean, rookie ticket autos over 100 easy.
Right. Let's see. Who else do we want to get into here? Woodband said earlier that there's still people interested in his Traylon Burks stuff. That's one of our biggest misses on this channel is Traylon Burks. We thought he'd be pretty good. He's obviously not. But Wood apparently says he's still getting some love for his Traylon Burks stuff. So there you go. Yeah, I guess I would be a buyer for a rookie ticket auto Burks for $10 at the door, basically. But yeah, he could just be Dookie water.
I just find it so hard, man. Unless the desire, the ambition, and the work ethic is not there for Burks, that he's just a total bust, man. Maybe it's gonna take a new situation, and maybe this is the time to buy Burks because he's heading into his third year. They're likely not going to take the 5th-year option on him. Maybe they trade him before his rookie contract is up, or maybe this is the year. Maybe there's an injury to Calvin Ridley or something, or maybe he has he develops a better role in this offense. Maybe he becomes more like a. Do you think he could be more like a Deebo Samuel type of role for the Titans?
If you could find creative ways to get him in the football. He's just a little too stiff. His route running just isn't as fluid. I just thought he was an athletic marvel, which he is. It's just the little nuances as a wide receiver just aren't there for him. One thing I would like to see is exactly that. Like, see if you can manufacture touches, because that's what they did for him at Arkansas. But being just an outside receiver is just nothing, he's really good at. But now that Calvin Ridley's there, it should be able to open up a few opportunities. They really do need Burks to be on the outside, and obviously DeAndre Hopkins be on the other outside, and let our guy Calvin Ridley cook from the slot. We've always been Calvin Ridley guys here. But so I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Traylon Burks. David says they're talking about Burks just playing on special teams. He'll be out of the NFL soon. I could see it. I mean, it's truly the film's truly been terrible. It just one of my biggest whiffs ever on here. But guess what? I'll take an L. There you go. Beside is Sean Red. Good to see you. Bob says Lombardi Lenny just fell off the map. Does anyone have any news?
I don't. I'm sure he's eating good, man. Lenny likes to bulk up in the off season. I think that was his downside. After he got paid in Tampa, he got himself a ring. It was like time for him to chill. He made it, man.
Well, you got to remember, this guy has been in the national spotlight since his sophomore year in high school. And he was the last super hyped up running back coming out of high school. Because the running back position has been devalued. There's good running backs every class, but it's just not like what it used to be. So this guy has been the dude for so long. But yeah, I think he's done. I also think the Bills should have kept him on the playoff roster, but that's me just being sour grapes. We had a Kevin from Denver, and we'll take another question here from Artie DeLeon. Is it a good time to invest in Marvin Mims?
No, I'm going to say no at this point. Marvin Mims prices are a little bit too rich for my liking, with too limited of a supply, and the draft selection of both Bo Nix and Troy Franklin really concern me about Marvin Mims' potential upside, especially when you still have Cortland Sutton on the roster and you have Tim Patrick coming back from injury. And if you look at the Broncos wide receiver depth chart, they have like 15 or 16 wide receivers on that depth chart. And there's always like positive buzz about one of those deep sleepers, whether it's like I can't remember Brandon something. There's a lot of guys on there, but it's like I can't remember their names, but you get my point. Like I think Marvin Mims, even though he was a second round Sean Payton draft pick guy from last year, his just prices are too rich for me when I think Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin are still going to surpass him in terms of targets and receptions.
And Wood was going to bring up the other receiver's name, Josh Reynolds. They brought in from Detroit. Really good player, bilingual player. And yeah, he's good. I'm still a semi-believer in Marvin Mims. It might just be an eye test thing. I still think he has juice. It was just kind of a weird playing situation. And if there's one thing I know about Sean Payton, he hates to be proven wrong. They moved up to go get him. So I think Sean's going to give him some good opportunities. And I feel Marvin Mims and Jerry Jeudy are somewhat similar players. And now that Jeudy is out of the way, can we get Mims more snaps? I think they profile somewhat similarly. So I'm still a little in on Marvin Mims, but not somebody that I'm buying at all. Let's go to David Bahana. He says JSN, Zamir White, and Chris Olave are players he feels are still undervalued and have upside.
Yeah, I definitely feel JSN has a lot of upside, especially with Tyler Lockett's age. If Tyler Lockett were to miss time with an injury, I think JSN spikes. I think he's got some standalone value, but it's in terms of fantasy value. If I can get him in the late rounds, right, I'll get some exposure to JSN. But his prices in the hobby are just still too expensive for me because his supply is still so limited. And that's going to parlay into my hobby tip of the week around the new product that's just come out. So I'll save that, but that's my take. I'd rather buy into Zamir White. I like Zamir White. I think he's going to have a great role this year. He's on that Chargers, the Raiders offense that I think has potential to surprise some people and just be a fun, exciting team to watch this year with ambiguity. And then who was the third guy? Chris Olave. Yeah, I mean, he's a stud and he's cheaper than Garrett Wilson and Drake London right now. So from that standpoint, I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, Chris Olave is one of those guys that you could invest in and feel okay holding for 1 to 3 to 5 years because he's that kind of player and he's going to be quarterback proof. He's going to be a stud for a while.
Yeah, Chris Olave, I could see having a Marquise Brown type of career where, you know, you can just bounce into a new situation and bang. So it might not be the Saints where you cash in because Chris Olave, we know, can flat out play. Pick Six says Derek Stingley is still way undervalued. That's his PC, so no bias there whatsoever. Let's go to Ozark Mountain Collectibles. Would you rather have Josh Downs or Michael Pittman, considering their price points versus upside potential?
Yeah, that's a close one. I'm going to go with Pittman just from the physicality standpoint of Pittman's game. I mean, he's a highlight reel machine, and I feel like you can get a lot more creative targeting 2020 product right now of Michael Pittman in auction, Michael Pittman at shows, particularly people that have held him for a while that don't have a lot like invested in, just maybe have struggled to move the card. It's been kind of sitting in their collection because of ambiguity around the quarterback play and just the Colts not making any type of deep playoff run for years. So, I think, we've talked about the Colts significantly, Carter, and we're bullish because they're good in the trenches, man. They've projected to have a top 5 offensive line. That's huge. And if Anthony Richardson has so much unlocked and unseen potential. Michael Pittman, we don't know what his ceiling could be, but he's been a bona fide alpha like number one wide receiver on that team since his rookie year. So, I mean, he's the guy, in my opinion, because you also have like A.D. Mitchell added to the roster, and you got other talent like people still like some Ashton Doolin too. So, where does Josh Downs fit into all that? I think he's a fun, like, kind of slot receiver. Maybe he gets, maybe he puts up some numbers, but not to the level of Michael Pittman.
I like Josh Downs. I do. Weird role, like you mentioned with A.D. Mitchell coming in. I've looked at Josh Downs. In fact, I'm looking it up right now, and man, he's got some flat out beautiful cards. And obviously, being in the Colts uniform, I am in on the Colts offense. Just by looking at my underdog exposures, I really do love this offense. Now, could this fly back in my face? Sure. We had a huge debate a few weeks ago on who we think is going to win the AFC South. I have the Colts. Andy has, chalk, the Texans. So
chalk, baby.
We'll see what happens. Now it's time for hobby tip of the week. Andy, you hinted at your hobby tip of the week. So follow.
Yeah. So we've been talking about for a while. 2023 Contenders is the next big set to be released from Panini for last year's draft class. And it is just like Optic, it has been leaked onto retail shelves at Target and Walmart before their release in the hobby boxes. The hobby boxes aren't scheduled till July 3rd, but I've talked, shout out to Manny out there. If you're out there watching, Manny, Manny gave me some significant intel in a one-on-one conversation I had because he's a premier member of the Football Card Quest Patreon. Intel. He was able to find 5 blaster boxes of 2023 Contenders. As you can see, it's selling here on eBay for about $30 to $40 per box. And he ripped them. He couldn't resist. He ripped them. And guess what? He found 0 rookie ticket autos out of 5 blaster boxes, Carter.
What?
0 rookie ticket autos.
What?
And he found, I think it was 3 mem cards. And so I want you to look on this box and see what the fine print says at the bottom. It says find 1 autograph or memorabilia card on average. And he's finding a lot of mem cards and no rookie ticket autos. And that just goes back to why I like to target rookie ticket auto singles, because they are actually quite rare. They've decreased the print run of these cards, and most of them have a print run somewhere in the like 150 to 350 type of range. That's what their print runs are. And it has a long checklist. So a lot of sleeper guys get printed in the set, but it's not worth buying the boxes. Don't buy these blaster boxes unless you just want to rip something for $30, because you're likely not going to pull a rookie ticket auto. Very small chance.
Yeah. And man, trust me, I still have a ton of blaster boxes just sitting in here. I wonder if I should just rip them. 2020 blaster boxes, Prism. Andy, I wish all rookie ticket autos were numbered. I really do. If there's anything I wish, it would be that when it comes to numbering cards. But be careful buying wax, man. It could be brutal. And you also have the box weighers out there as well, so be careful. But yeah, Andy, everyone talking about your setup. Gabe and Michael have teamed up and said your closet walls are bare here.
It's not that is a closet over there. I actually thought about setting up in the walk-in closet, but it's not bad in there. But my wife said that was too depressing. I just couldn't. She wouldn't let me set up in the closet. So no, I'm in fact in my bedroom.
Yeah, my hobby tip of the week, I mentioned, the card show. Once again, if you're just now joining us, come to the Shreveport card show this Saturday, Arklatex Memorabilia Card Show. I posted the photo a little bit earlier if you want to see it. And a few of you showed up. It's free to get in, so on and so on. But my hobby tip of the week is if you see a card that you really like and it's going to be liquid, it might not be there when you get back, right? And what I like to do is seriously say, Do I think a majority of people would want to come swipe this card right now at this table? Like, let's just say for some reason there was a guy there selling a CJ Stroud Silver Prism for $50. Now, once again, that's way too low. It's not the best example. You know that card is about to be gone. You know it's going to be gone. So if you see that, you got to jump on it, right? But if it is something a little bit deeper cut, you can walk around for a little bit to see if you really want it. And one thing, Andy, when it comes to going into a card show, especially if you've never been to one before, I know it's fun seeing the YouTubers buy all the big cards, flip it, and fancy cars, all that stuff. But go in with a game plan, go in with an idea, because look, there's a lot of you watching this that not only like football, you like soccer. You know, Andy, the Euros are going on, the Copa Americas are going on. Really ask yourself, are you that big of a Lionel Messi fan to buy the auto? Yes, it would be cool to have a Lionel Messi auto, but is that really something that you want? When you buy that card for $700, $800, are you going to be like, yeah, I like soccer, but you know, I could have spent it on football cards? Go in with a plan. Now, if you have buku money, it doesn't matter. You do whatever the F you want to do. But go into a card show with a plan and a semi budget, and you'll come out looking great.
Also, you can ask the dealers, like, what is everybody looking at? You know, because
Right.
most dealers have their display cases, and you're like, so hey, how's it going, man? What's everybody looking at in here? You know, what's everybody interested in? You get an idea real quick of what their most liquid card is, and you know, then you can kind of make some more honed in decisions, save yourself some time in that regard. You could take that approach too. It's kind of fun.
Jason says he got 3 boxes of contenders and all 3 had the same cards.
Oh no. That's weird and unfortunate and sad all at the same time.
I don't think he meant like all 3 had the exact same cards in it, but he pulled some repeats. Man, I'll just be honest. Ripping wax can be just harsh. It really can. And what's really funny, Andy, is, and it could just be that they are filming every card that they open, but most of the big cards get pulled by breakers, because not only they rip it in volume, they could get a hot box, if you will, or they can get a hot case that has hits in them, because that helps the distributors. So it's interesting. Let's go to Rain Strike here. He says dealers almost never talk with each other in card shows. That's not been my experience. It's really not. I'm not a big time dealer. I don't go from show to show to show every Saturday, but I do talk to a lot of dealers when I set up. But it once again, I could see that in other markets for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine, like, in the smaller the card show is, the more likely they are probably to talk to each other. And I imagine at the eclectic Carter, they probably is more of a local community vibe to that show versus the national. I could see, like, okay, guys, half a mile across this
Right.
insanely huge convention center, and there's no way he's talking to this guy over here. So I can save like whatever I want to this dealer. I could be like, well, you know, that guy over there, he was gonna cut, but it just had he was gonna cut me a $15 deal, but it had a soft corner. Or he was offering me 50. Why don't you offer me, you know, 45? But he was really offering 30. But he's never gonna go talk to that guy. So I don't know. It's some, you know, I know there's a lot of negotiation tactics out there. I always just you know, I try to make sure I'm ethical in my negotiation tactics, but I do think that it's advantageous to try and, if you've got a card that's very liquid, you're looking to either move it. You don't have to take the deal from the first dealer. You could use the price he gives you and take that to another dealer down the aisle and see what he's willing to deal with it. And then you could always come back. You know, the guys are going to be set up there for the full day. They're trying to maximize their investment of setting up a table, so they're going to be there for the full day, and they are looking to wheel and deal. So,
but look, Rain Strike, you could be a big time dealer and know more than me. So I'll digress to you. But honestly, I've seen a lot of dealers speak to each other. But once again, it could be different at like bigger shows like the Dallas Card Show and so on and so on. And Rain Strike follows up, the good ones in KC depend on the customers for what they are selling for. Okay. Some dealers hate trades because they only want cash. That is true. Most dealers just want cash. I mean, it's just how it works. But there you go. Now it is time for play of the week. Andy's got to get back on the road, moving everything from back and forth. Andy, I'll let you go first. Go right on ahead.
All right, so my play this week is going to be 2022 rookie. We're talking about some of the 2022 rookies a little bit earlier in terms of like Chris Olave and those guys. But I've got another pass catcher for you. Plays for the Baltimore Ravens. His name is Isaiah Likely, tight end. And he's out of Coastal Carolina. This guy has been getting a ton of buzz at OTAs and minicamp. He also played fantastic last year when Mark Andrews was injured. And Mark Andrews is actually pretty fragile. If you look at his injury risk, is pretty high at this point in his career. He's been getting banged up a lot. And Isaiah Likely is just an absolute stud in this offense. It's an offense that likes to run a lot of two tight ends too, Carter. So he probably has standalone value in and of itself. And I think he's a better receiver than guys like probably at this point in his career than Nelson Aguilar, even though it's different roles. I think he's a better receiver than Nelson Aguilar, probably Rashad Bateman too. So I look at Isaiah Likely in an offense with Lamar Jackson that is a Super Bowl contending offense that has some crazy high upside, including Week 1 opening against the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. Isaiah Likely is one of those guys who's also popped in preseason before. I mean, this guy's got great potential, and we've seen his rookie ticket autos get up to like that $20, $30, $40 range. And right now they're back down to that $12 to $15 range. And this guy's this consistent drumbeat of like excels at every category throughout spring training camp of the Ravens.
All right, Andy. Now this one is, and I know I've done a lot of repeat plays of the week. We brought back up Tyjae Spears. I gave you that one a long time ago. But you want to know a receiver who I gave you, this was like 6 months ago. I made this comment, Andy, that Dontavian Wicks will emerge as the number one wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Now, it's still a long shot because Christian Watson's healthy and Jaden Reed's there, and they were early round draft picks. But Dontavian Wicks, since I've said that, has become the darling of the fantasy community. Did you know this, Andy?
What's his ADP now?
It's in the top 150 now.
Oof.
Which is expensive. I've drafted him quite a bit as like my wide receiver 6. And Andy, I'm still a believer. Still a freaking believer. A coach goes out of his way to compare you to Devontae Adams, which has happened with the Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur. And Dontavian Wicks, yard per route run numbers are pretty good. And the dude is just good. And if you bet on prospects from Louisiana, you are going to more often than not do really well. Louisiana skill guys, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, originally from Louisiana. Dontavian Wicks is still my guy. And Andy, there's 2 things I like about Dontavian Wicks as far as getting, steals. I'm looking at silver rated rookies going for 99 cents out the door. I mean, I'll take hollow rated rookies all day. Not many autos out there of them because of the draft capital, but I freaking love him. I really do think he can play. And look, this Green Bay offense, I understand it is hard to project it because they have so many really good skill guys. We didn't even mention Romeo Dobbs. Josh Jacobs is there. Marshawn Lloyd is there. They got 2 really good tight ends. I still think Dontavian Wicks is that dude. And if I can get, even if it's not autos, rated rookies for like $2 or $3, sure, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, I do see that his rookie autos are virtually all college uniform except for the score, which has got that Green Bay logo. Still college uniform, but contenders. I expect him to have a rookie ticket auto. Pulling up the checklist now on cardboardconnection.com, but I have a high level of confidence that he's going to have a rookie ticket auto. I wouldn't chase him in boxes, of course, like we just talked, but he's going to be a rookie ticket auto that I would chase. Somebody's got to break out in this offense, man. It's going to start week 1, Friday night against the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil with wearing whatever uniforms they're going to be wearing. This is crazy. Hopefully they don't get hurt going to this game. I hear they're going to be have to take armored Ubers to the stadium in Brazil just to play this game. It's kind of crazy, but I think Wicks could have a huge impact as early as that first game.
One more thing I like about Wicks. They misspell his name all the time on eBay searches. They don't include the Y before the V. So I have seen Dontavian Wicks without the Y go for a little less. So you could take advantage of that. And if you are listing, make sure you spell the player's name correctly. It's something else that I do, Andy, and this is more of a hobby tip of the week, is if I'm listing a card on eBay, I will in the title make sure I spell it correctly. But in the actual body of text down below, I'll include a oftentimes misspelled name. So like I'll put Dontavian Wicks, spell it correctly with the Y in there. And then in the actual description, I will put Dontavian Wicks with the Y in there, but I'll also put the misspelling in the body of text as well, just to, help with the SEO of it, if that makes sense. I don't know if it has an effect, but it's something free and it takes less than a second to do.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. You got to do that, especially on a guy like this with complicated spelling of the first name. But look, Carter, he's on the checklist for 2023 contenders.
Let's go.
So that rookie ticket auto is going to be primo. If you can buy that, I would even say for anything under $30, just because he plays for the Packers. And if you can't emerge as the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers with this young gunslinger Jordan Love here, insane hype could be ahead for you, especially when guys like Christian Watson can't stay healthy and other guys can't produce consistently in this offense. This offense is expected to be very dynamic, very explosive with Jordan Love. You definitely want some exposure. So if you can find the rookie ticket auto single of Wicks after about, I would say 3 to 4 weeks of this set being on the market, snipe them, guys. Those rookie ticket autos are not going to be easy to come by come September and potentially towards the end of the year.
There you go. So Pick Six has a athlete he collects, and he puts the misspelled name in the search, and you get good deals. Trust me, I've been on the wrong end of that as well. Jason wants to know if you're going to set up the famous slab wall.
Well, so you see where I'm at now is actually probably only a 9-month setup, and then I will be in a more permanent residence. So I'm kind of in the transition phase of my life with my young family. So yeah, I don't know, man, to be honest with you. I've got all the little shells and the lights to set it up, but I just haven't committed on whether or not I'm going to set it up here or not. But I'll definitely maybe even just do something like what Carter's got. I probably will put 2 pictures though, so it's like you can see the pictures, because Carter's picture is always blocked by his big head. And then I put some lights.
Just for that, I am going to make you pay for my full trip to the National if I do decide to go, because I become more self-conscious with my head size, and I've not been wearing my actual job hat, my work hat, if you will. I've switched to one of those dry fit hats, that you see runners wear, and that actually fits my head. I switched into that recently, but now I'm gonna be thinking, dang, even my best friend in cards thinks my head is abnormally large. So appreciate you, man. Thanks for the self-esteem, brother.
Man, look, I had no clue there was a head complex. I didn't know you were self-conscious about the head, man.
And I
Yeah.
am, man. And look, Gabe's in Dontavian Wicks land with me because he's smart. And there you go. We will be back next week. Okay. And thank you guys for adjusting, times once again with Andy moving. It's hard, but we want to get a show in once a week for all you lovely people. Special thanks to nooffseason.com, CGC, all the lovely people over there. Talk to you next week, y'all. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
We're just going to sit here for... All right, boss.
Peace.
Later, brother.